Yeah, well, I mean, the thing about Colin was, like, he was such a big influence on me ever becoming a rally driver. I loved rally as a kid. It didn't have much coverage in the States, but from what I could see of it, it was the motorsport that, like, spoke to me. And then Colin was the driver that really made it step up a whole nother level, because the way that he drove, the way that he embodied the sport, the way he had fun with the car, that just spoke to me in such a different way than any other driver that I saw in the WRC. That's one of the things back in that time, like, the WRC wasn't on TV for us. And I think for me that finding those, like, VHS tapes and being able to experience those events and the story of winning that championship that year, I think those are the things that really made Colin's legend to me bigger than life. At the top moment of my career was actually racing against him the second year that we raced X Games, and we were doing this sort of head-to-head super special thing, and I forced him into rolling his car. And for me it was like, man, I just racing head-to-head against one of my heroes, and actually he admitted to me that I had gotten ahead of him in the first part of the super special, and so we came back together and he saw that he was behind me, so he was pushing too hard and ended up rolling, and it was just mind-blowing to me that I actually somehow pressured him into rolling his car. In the first year he was actually trying to come up short on the landing of the jump so he could get off, and because there was kind of a right turn afterwards, so he landed sideways, and he should have just slid down and gone, but it caught and he rolled, but he still landed on the wheels in the right direction to go. So I think he downshifted mid-air. Sorry, mid-roll. He downshifted mid-roll to first and then just took off. He took it all with a stride that he loved the sport. He loved coming over and competing in this fun X Games events, and but he let us experience and be able to be with him and learn from him as much as we could. So it was very cool for us. So when Colin passed away, I was devastated. I was actually down in New Zealand filming a project for DC Shoes. We were actually with my rally car with a bunch of snowboarders on a ski resort, and I had just been texting with him and maybe a call, and I had told him, like, you're really gonna like what I'm doing, like, because we had this shared passion about having fun with rally cars. And I think I was still there when he'd passed away, and I got the news, and so I was just devastated. Here was one of my heroes in the sport that I loved, that I'd been become friends with, had competed against a couple times, and for me it was a great experience and such a big learning experience too, to be around him, and then all of a sudden to have him be gone, it was mind-blowing really for me. I couldn't believe it in the beginning, and especially since I'd met his family and gone and visited at his home in Scotland, and so everything was very personal for me. So to hear about all the events that happened was really, devastating is a very good word for that, I think. The biggest inspiration that Colin had on me was really just the flat-out driving style of the 90s. When I got into racing rally cars, you had to drive them fairly neat. The more sideways you got, kind of the slower it was. But I wanted to drive really sideways, so for me, going out and doing the Gymkhana videos was sort of that expression of what I loved of rally from the 80s and 90s, but especially what I saw Colin doing.